Wish that I could love you right.
Don't understand the things I've been through today. That might be one of the best show openers we've ever had. With no words.
Welcome back to the Dynamite Diaries.
Guys, okay. Hi. First of all, let's start with what happens. Hello. How are you? Good morning. It's good to see everybody. I've been in a funk these last couple weeks, but it feels like the sun is coming out, I've been having a pretty decent day. Here's the thing. I actually have and let me tell you why. I want to also emphasize why. It's just because I felt in my spirit a while ago, months ago, actually. I said, I do think that Jericho had made his mind up. Oh yeah, like I'll go to WWE. But then he saw us talking. And he saw everybody counted him out. And everybody, and I blame some of you for it. I will, because some of you were celebrating too early and people were dancing in the streets. They said evil is defeated, evil is destroyed. They said we're free. He's coming at the Rumble. Royal Rumble came and went. No, Jericho. We went here, there, everywhere. I said he's going to come back out of spite just because y'all told him he can't, and so he has to prove that he can't. And I also want to say, All Elite Wrestling, you are the funniest wrestling promotion that ever existed. Like, the show opened. Keep in mind, most of us ain't even settled in yet. I just turned this TV on. And Tony Schiavone trying to talk. I said, they got guns in there? I said, what is all this pop, pop, pop in the background? I said, are you poor? I said, I thought y'all had money now. These technical difficulties, I didn't know what was going on. They got me. Then it happened again, and then suddenly they didn't waste no time. Y'all, the show started at 8 o'clock. By 8:01, we were literally one verse into Judas. And what I also appreciate is something about these 2000s wrestling stars. They don't care if you're into them or not. You're going to force, they'll wait. He said, I'll wait. I'm not leaving the ring until you cheer to an appropriate volume that I deem acceptable. Had them people in his city, by the way, that's his city. They were scared. He said, come on. You want me to leave so bad? You're gonna sing. You're gonna sing. I've never seen anything like it. It's something about that Jericho, Cope, Christian, who else? Brock Lesnar, all these people who came from that generation of wrestling. You think we care if y'all want us here or not? And Randy Orton's main event in WrestleMania, nigga. What y'all think this is? Here's the thing. This is all going to end terribly. I just want to say that. I don't want you to think that I'm co-signing this at all. I'm pretty aware. This is going to all end terribly. Because the thing is, somebody asked me last week, they said, if Jericho came back today, who would you have him work with? I literally pulled up the AEW roster. I went person by person. I had nothing. But at the same time, and the reason I want to go ahead and get all my points out, because I know when you start talking, it's over. So let me just get all my points out because I know that's what the people really want to see. They want to hear what you have to say. People have been like literally anticipating Dani's crash out on Twitter all day long. They said, "Oh my God, what's she finna do?" Guys, please. All I could do was laugh. I think I just laugh. It's also too is just I don't know what it is about Jericho, but that face is talked. Hey, that face. Man, y'all, I don't. All I could do was laugh. That's all I could do. All I could do was laugh. Also, did y'all notice they're not really saying Chris? They just said Jericho. Y'all think he's just gonna go by his last name? It's interesting. But Dani, I'm handing this over to you. This is really about you. This is really about you.
When God sings with the chorus of all his creations, Chris Jericho will not be among them.
He will not be in the number.
You know what? Okay. Where to start? Let's start with the fact that for whatever reason, All Elite Wrestling, the disconnect between what the people want to see and what y'all are willing to give us, it's just, it grows all the time. And it's just so funny because AEW will make you live like this. They'll put on fantastic wrestling. MJF versus Speedball was fantastic. Ospreay versus Pac was fantastic. But it has to be a little bit shit or you won't come back. They want to make sure that you have a good time, not a great time. So you go ahead and spend that $50. That's what they're doing to you. This is Snow Bunny mind control, people. Don't fall for it. Chris Jericho returning to All Elite Wrestling. I literally can only hearken it to like the worst possible things that I can think of. It is something that absolutely nobody asked for. And you know what? The return itself is actually what's funny as fuck to me. How you gonna pull up in your own city? News broke already that you was gonna be here. So niggas had time to prepare, people. Had time to prepare. All right? This your whole city. You come out there, music hits. That's your whole thing. Your whole thing. The only reason that people were half interested in seeing you was to sing the song the last time. Song starts playing, only half the place is singing along with you. That's when you smell trouble in the air. Because if you can't get a hometown pop with the song of all songs, then where are you going to get one? Baby, you can't buy one. They're not on sale. You have to have it. And so he pulls up into this ring. Takes all the time in the world. How we spend our minutes is how we spend our lives. Chris Jericho just wasted, I don't even know what fraction of my life, but he took it from me. I will never get that back. Do you understand that? I will never get that time back. I swear to God, that is time I could have been spending with loved ones, with individuals. We are all going to die one day. We are all going to die one day, and we're going to have to account for all of the minutes and all of the time that we spent and what we were doing with it and whether or not we have regrets. Chris Jericho didn't even give me the option because he come out there first thing. He said, you will see me. And he said, I'm not coming on last. You know why? Because last they can cut me off. If I come out here first, I'll take all day, bitch. All day. And so he come out there. Audience like, oh, okay, cool. It's Chris Jericho. He from here. Woo. He said, no, that's not enough. I'm not feeling that. That's not enough. It's like,
he said, my daddy's in the crowd. Y'all see my dad in the front row. Y'all better clap.
And you know, y'all ever been to a concert where like the opener keeps being like, come on guys, sing along. We don't know this one. We don't know you. We don't like you. Nobody came to see you, Otis. And so you come out here and you're dry begging the crowd to give you a reaction. Ain't shit happening. Ain't shit shaking. Don't nobody want to see that shit in your own city. Pull up to your own block and they don't know you. So he comes out there. He's waiting. He said, guys, come on, make some noise. It's me, Chris Jericho. Who in their right mind wants to see that? Who in their right mind wants to see that? He grabs the microphone, says the two most devastating words I've heard since. I can't say that.
No.
Oh my God.
No.
I can't say that.
No. No.
Let me just say this. Ushers, close the doors. Yes, let me just say this. He comes out here, he says, I'm home. Get the fuck out of my house! How did you get in here? No, and I swear to God, we locked the door. And the thing is about Jericho, and y'all gonna be like, oh, Danielle, why are you spending so much time on this? Y'all don't understand. My beef with Chris Jericho goes way back. This ain't no brand new shit.
You are an OG. You are an OG.
I live it. And so when y'all niggas try to get my hopes up, talking about, oh, Jericho gonna be in a Rumble, Jericho gonna do this, he gonna do that, it's almost a done deal. Of course he's going back to WWE. And then guess what his ass didn't do? Guess what his ass did not do? I swear to God, I thought maybe we were safe because Donald Trump was addressing the nation. I said, oh, Chris Jericho got to be front and center. So we're okay. It won't be tonight. But alas,
this is a generational first 12 minutes on this show. Bro.
He finds some reason to get on my nerves yet again. And that's the problem, y'all. And I'm going to preach for half a second. Sometimes when you think that the devil has been defeated, you're taking victory laps before your shift is over. Okay.
That's fair. Correct.
As someone sent here to fight the good fight on behalf of my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, this is not of God. This is not of God. Everything that's going on here, top to bottom, this is not of God. Okay. And if you truly are believing in your heart of hearts, or even if you're questioning, you've never been a believer before, today's the day to get saved, because it's going to get scary, spooky, hilarious out here.
Are we doing evangelism?
Sure. If that's what it takes. If that's what it takes, yes, I'm recruiting. And you know what? The craziest part about this is, I mentioned a lot of crazy parts. One of the craziest parts about this was the way that my heart dropped to my ass when he came out there. But I saw the two chairs for the Kenny and MJF segment.
Those Golden Jets flashbacks. Oh my God.
I almost jumped in the ring. And I'm sitting there and I said, if they play Kenny's music first and I have to see Kenny Omega interact with Chris Jericho, because if y'all remember, right before Kenny left, Jericho and Kenny did, yes, they were doing
the last time they did a segment together.
They were like, we're going to run this back. Don't worry.
The last time they did a segment together, Kenny died. Literally.
What does that tell you?
Kenny literally died.
And what does that tell you?
The last night they did a segment together.
There's a dark evil within that man. There's a dark evil within that man. I literally I can't say that. The Golden Jets were maybe the worst. AEW is guilty of a lot of crimes. The Golden Jets is certainly worthy of Guantanamo Bay. And
I want to say this, before Golden Jets happened, whenever I would confidently say, people be like, yeah, even your goats have flop eras. And I would be like, not mine. That never happened. I suddenly got it. I understood.
Here's the thing. Kenny, that has nothing to do with Kenny Omega. The Golden Jets, to me, absolutely nothing to do with Kenny Omega, because guess why? He was not in his right mind. He was not his right body. So
correct.
That was all a figment of our imagination. And yes, that one promo where he came out there and it looked like, I said, Kenny, you're not on this planet, girl. That was the whole thing. He had no idea. He's innocent. Free
my boy was gone.
He was wrong. And
Kenny's so funny.
Chris Jericho at the scene of the crime again. This January 6th, all of them. Allegedly. And so you guys don't understand. The only thing that could have made this worse would it have been a surprise. At least we had heard the reports. Go ahead, sorry.
I was gonna say, this is the earliest we've ever jumped straight into Dynamite on this show.
Oh, you're right. I have one non-Dynamite thing we will talk about, but at least it wasn't a surprise. That's my one reprieve. Because had I not known what was happening, then you bitches brought Chris Jericho out here, Antoine Khan and I would have had a face-to-face interaction. worthy of a camera. That's what I'll say. And by that I mean a contract signing. Of course, we would never do anything. Guys, the other thing about this is that, like, in the past couple days, today specifically, we've been breaching containment over here. And unfortunately, like, this is Barbie Land because we force it to be Barbie Land, but there are some among us.
They're watching.
Good. If you are All Elite and you are watching this program, do everything you can to get Chris Jericho out of there. And this is a message directly for Christopher Jericho. What's his middle name? Let's make one up for him. I don't know. I can't think. Who's like the worst person you could think of?
What? I mean, well, it's terrible. Like, what kind of works are we talking? Are we talking about like war criminals, or like we talking about?
No,
like,
that's like not fun.
Yeah. Just was wondering.
I'm like, what's up? Like,
Tory Lanez.
No.
Oh,
he's just chopped. I don't know, guys. I wish I was more clever, but the reality is, Chris Jericho, if you're listening, look at me.
Somebody said like Guantanamo Jericho.
Chris Jericho, look at me. Just because you're having your 3/4 life crisis does not mean you need to subject me to it. Okay? You're trying to use AEW, its fans, and the people around it as your own personal fountain of youth, and as a method to grasp on to relevance that has eluded you now for years. And I would say, truly, it would be much more beneficial to you, to the viewing audience, to your legacy, to not go out sad. If this is the way that things are going to be, getting half a reaction from your hometown and your big return after months and months and months, dry begging people to do something for you. They're not even singing the song that they know the words to.
And you know they know it. And you know they know it. We all know it.
You need to have an honest conversation with yourself. And I'm not even, this isn't even hater coming from a hater. Like, no, yes, I am. But I mean point blank, and I'm saying AEW as well. If you're looking at that and saying, I just don't understand how you look top to bottom on your roster, top to bottom about the things going on, top to bottom, and you say, you know what this show could really use? Chris Jericho. Nobody has said that. And Rampage doesn't exist anymore. So where he gonna go?
I also think, like, how to say it, like, Jericho's obviously, or at least he should be, towards the end of his career. And I think that he is obviously very important to AEW's foundation of, like, you know, of AEW's beginning, and getting them to a point to where they could be on TV. His place in current AEW, I think, is much more unstable. And I kind of feel like at this point, like, yes, I think that the last 2 or so years of Chris Jericho have been all like just downright, just pretty much shit. However, he is, I think, has one of the best careers like we've ever seen. And I think like we are in that territory where it's like you are dangerously close to like ruining your own legacy.
That's what I'm saying. You're about to go outside. You have a lot to be proud of, and correct. You have a lot.
And several companies
will be remembered, and you will be remembered in a positive light, and for doing so many different things. Like, but no, AJ, that's a great point. This is not. You're talking about cock and balls in my birthday dinner, time and place. This is not the time or place for a nostalgia run, bro. We got too much serious shit we got to deal with. We've got real graps, real things that need to happen. Like, if all you're gonna do is come and play the hits, we're cool. We're cool. Like, you can do that elsewhere, or you can stay home. Like, I have no interest in that, and that's what you've been doing for the past 2 years. So unless you're gonna try to somehow convince me that this time's gonna be different, but given what you tried to do at the beginning of the show, it's not giving any different.
Yeah, I think also too, just I could see why he didn't want to go. Like, how do I say it? I can see why he didn't go back to WWE for numerous reasons. And I honestly think that Jericho considers AEW his lasting home. Like, I do. And he's a person who honestly has never had a problem, you know, jumping from company to company or leaving whenever his needs suit him. Which I respect. Of, like, you know, he genuinely did build, you know, help build a company. However, I think you've gotten to a point to where AEW is growing, and there's now a sizable subsection of the audience that does not know that you built the company. You know, they just know you this old nigga on TV who annoying them to death. They have no idea. You know, I think some people who have been watching AEW since day one, like even if Jericho stuff annoys you, you'll be like, okay, it's not like he just showed up out of nowhere. Like, you know, it's just like he does still have a pass, right? Like, he does have a pass to be here. But I think one of the things that I had always liked about Jericho as a wrestler is his ability to reinvent himself and reintroduce himself to different audiences of different age groups. And that's something that he's just not doing right now. And he hasn't done in a long time. And I think, like, you know, we joke a lot on this show, but I think right now we're being dead serious. And
yes,
like we're being dead serious right now. And it sucks because, again, I followed Jericho through so many different companies, and I think, like, you know, he has a lot to be proud of between, you know,
absolutely. He was one of my favorite performers growing up.
Correct, but we're ruining the legacy. We've had talked about this with Cope and some other people too. Just like, it's that, bro. It's that chip. That 2000s, if you was in 2000s WWE storytelling chip, everybody got that chip in their brain of not knowing when to quit, not when to stop. Nobody knows about what it means for minimalism. Nobody.
You gonna wait. Like,
good
just
Lord.
Guys.
And you look around, everybody your age, the age now, Tanahashi retired. Hang it up, flat screen. Cena's out of here, you know, like AJ Styles retired. I'm not saying that all these people got to hang it up, because if all of them hang it up, that means we got to talk about my people. I got plans. For my
never talk about my clients,
my personal clients, but y'all's we do need to talk about. I don't know, and I'm trying to be optimistic, because the thing is, I do think that if this is his final run, I think Jericho has earned the right to retire in AEW. However, as we've seen with retirement runs in AEW, you do have to be able to perform on the level with the current product, you know, and with, like, Sting, we saw with Bryan Danielson, of just like, if you are not planning to go out like a goat, we can end this right now. You see this locker room, you see how many hungry people, and I think also too, as I said that we were going to talk about, of just, there's a lot of good happening right now, and there's a lot of good momentum, specifically at the very, very top of the card, you know, in the world title picture. But bro, everything underneath it, you know how many people are not on TV right now? Or if they're on TV, it's a bunch of nothing.
Yeah, I think ultimately, I echo all of your sentiments, and, like, truly, for as much as we joke and for as much as I have shared my personal disdain for Chris Jericho, like, I just think that the reality of the current landscape of AEW is that time seems to be so limited for an absolutely stacked roster, and quality storylines seem to be few and far between. And what Chris Jericho has been doing the past few years, instead of doing the work to reinvent himself, is to latch on to a younger talent who who admires him and who thinks that being near Chris Jericho will secure them TV time, when in reality, all of these people were talented enough that they could have gotten it by themselves. And so now you have a situation where Chris Jericho is literally like sucking out of them like the fountain of youth to try to stay relevant to a rising star instead of doing the work to actually reinvent himself. At least that's how it comes across.
I think also, too, I think it could be argued that the only young talent that ever really survived the Jericho Vortex was MJF.
You guys understand? And that's the thing, too, right? Like, it might sound like I'm exaggerating when we're talking about all this stuff, right? Chris Jericho beat Katsuyori Shibata 6 times over the course of a year.
Really? It was that many?
Yes. Chris Jericho he refused to lose clean to Bandito. Chris Jericho was running an absolute scam of a program. And we had to sit there and watch it and take it like it was normal. And the thing is, like I said, especially with him having been gone for so long, like, we've seen the light. We don't have to do this.
No.
We don't have to live like this. Everybody stand up, fight back. Okay, can we speak about what they're doing with the men's world title scene over the women's world title scene? All three titles feels. Wait, before we get into Dynamite, I need to tell you guys about what's happening on Bravo right now. I'll keep it brief.
Yeah. We'll come back to Super Chat. Continue.
We will, because that's about wrestling. Okay, guys. So, reality TV tea as told by Danielle. So, nobody asked, but I am going to share it with you because it's a really big deal to me. There is, well, first off, have you seen Vanderpump Rules?
No, but I've heard of it.
Okay. A couple years back, Vanderpump Rules, there's this massive scandal. And basically the premise of the scandal is that there is this couple that had been together for a decade, literally for 10 years. And this new girl gets introduced to the cast as she's dating another cast member. They break up. But she's in her young, cool, single girl era. That girl's name is Raquel. The guy in the other couple that has been together for a decade, that's Ariana and Tom. Okay? Right. So Raquel breaks up with her man. Everybody's like, yes, good for you, girl, because he was crazy. He was weighing you down. You know, now you can finally like live your life. Ariana's having like a really tough year though. So her and Raquel get pretty close. Like Ariana's dog dies. Like she loses her she loses her grandmother. Like it's just a really tough summer for her. And then it kind of comes out. I'm giving you guys a TLDR for some background, but it comes out that actually no, for as much as, you know, Ariana was there rooting for Raquel the whole time and, you know, trying to hype her up like, yes, let's go girl, hot girl summer. While she was dealing with her own shit and relying on, you know, her man and on her best friend, they'd been fucking. And not only had they been fucking, they were in love and had been fucking for months, if not a year or longer. So it wasn't like we made a mistake. Full on affair of somebody that you've been, you know, right up there next to. You've been with this man for a decade. It got to the point she froze her eggs because she was about to have his kids. Like it was that serious. It was that serious. So it's Vanderpump Rules. Also, if you watch reality TV, perfect reality TV show. That show's fucking insane. But that is referred to as Scandival. It is referred to as like, so the girl who hosts Love Island, Ariana, she's the girl who got wronged by in that. But Scandival is considered like the all-time, like, you know, reality TV, like, whoa. Even if you didn't watch that show, everybody was like, this is huge. Nobody saw it coming. So this past week, okay, that's just for some background. So that's Vanderpump Rules. There is a show called Summer House on Bravo. Okay. So Summer House, basically, do you know anything about Summer House, Lyric?
Mm-mm.
Okay. Basically, the premise is that these people live in New York. Most of them are friends from at the beginning, most of them are friends that like already know each other. So it's not like it's kind of Real Housewives of Atlanta, like that style in terms of like they know of each other. They're not like strangers for the most part in Summer House. And so the premise is basically like in the summers, they go to this house and they all like live there together on like the weekends. So it's like this interesting mix because it's like, no, they do have like real lives that they will be going back to. Okay. So season 1 of Summer House, you meet this couple, Amanda and Kyle. Amanda gives pick me, but she seems sweet and like she just really desperately, like it's kind of sad. She wants a man. Any man that she can have, she wants, and so that ends up being Kyle. And Kyle cheats on her while they're dating. She stays. Kyle cheats on her when they get engaged. She stays. Then they get married. They should have never gotten married, but they do. They get married. Okay. So that's group 1. We'll put Kyle and Amanda over here, married. So then season 5, I think we get the it girl of all time. Sierra gets introduced to Summer House. Black girl. That's very important. Black girl Sierra gets introduced to Summer House. She's amazing. We love her. Everybody loves her. Couple seasons go by. They introduce this white guy from Missouri, the big evil. This white guy from Missouri. His name is West. Okay. So West and Sierra start flirting at a minimum, and then they're doing more than flirting and like, okay, we're probably in full-blown situationship status. But Sierra keeps it's clear that Sierra has big feelings for him, and he keeps kind of being like, you know, I like you, but I'm not looking for anything serious, you know, like whatever. And so she keeps trying to give him an out of like, okay, well, like if you don't really like me, like you don't have to do that. Like, you know, we can just like keep it cute and like keep it pushing. He's like, no, I do like you. I just, you know, doing this, whatever. So the season of that season finishes wrapping. They are dating, you know, unofficially, but they're dating. She goes back to meet his family. You know, like they're spending a whole lot of time together. But that same off season, they break up. And also, guys, if anybody watches Summer Houses and knows any details that I'm messing up, just let me know. But this is the basics. So they break up. When they break up, not only do they break up in a way that's like, it's clear that he broke up with her, and what, you know, that comes across very clearly. But then the bitch feels the need to start going on podcasts and shit, penning he wrote a New York Times like fucking op-ed, basically, in Sierra's words, saying how much he never really liked her. He is essentially going on all these different platforms being like, it was never like that for me. Like, it was a cool time. Like, she was cool, like, whatever. And it's like, okay, so why did you feel the need to do that? In addition to breaking up with me, you feel the need to go on like an embarrassment tour? Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Okay. So that happens, obviously. Yes, well, that's the beginning. So everybody's obviously up in arms and like, what the fuck, man? Fuck West. That's fucking crazy. Then a season goes by and she's strict as hell. She's not talking to that nigga. She won't look in his direction. She's like, no, I hate West. Everybody's like, yeah, girl, I understand. He ain't shit. But, you know, they spend all this time in the house together, and it's like, he is very clearly trying to get back in her good graces. Mm-hmm. So he's very clearly like, it's this past season, he's like, he like her. That and everybody's like, man, even the other girls in the house are like, he likes you. You know, he likes you. And she's like, I just don't know, because I feel like I looked stupid the first time, you know, go really liking this man. And, you know, especially with the interracial dynamics, like I look like I just let this white man play me for a fool. And she's like, I'm not really fucking with it. I'm not messing with that. But things are flirty sometimes, things are strict the other times. They're kind of trying to figure that out, right? Before this season. Okay, now we're getting to the real drama. So before this season, it gets announced. Before the season airs, Kyle and Amanda getting a divorce. Whoa. This is big, but not surprising. because they never should have got married in the first place. So the season that you're watching on TV, they're still married. But after wrapping the season, it's when they broke up. So they're telling you what you're seeing on TV is not representative of right now. So you're watching it and you're like, oh, okay. And so during this season, you're watching this and Wes and Sierra, will they, won't they, all this different shit, whatever. Season wraps this week. It comes out. Well, there are rumors start flying, whatever.
On the show, or was it online?
No, online. Rumors start floating around online. People are like, no, that can't be true. Guess what the fuck happened? Yesterday, a joint statement from Wes and Amanda, the girl that got divorced, and the guy that was acting like he was still in love with that black girl after the humiliation tour. And it is absolutely insane, because you want to know what else? It's just a situationship. They blew up their whole lives, their whole friendship.
So wait, so they're not even official?
They're not even official. Rumor is that actually they're not anything anymore, or maybe he's moved on. He's exclusive with a new girl.
They must got caught with evidence, and that's why they had to get in front of it.
But they're not in front of it, because here's the thing, right? Guess who found out at the same time as the rest of us? My good friend Sierra.
No.
So there's a picture of her getting the news in real time. She's like walking down the street, like checking like her phone, and somebody's like fucking telling her something, and she like kind of like collapses outside of an Hermes, and it is absolutely nasty. This girl who sat next to you at every reunion when you was talking about he humiliated me and he made me feel XYZ, and then you guys are sitting next to me the next season talking about, well, maybe you should give him another chance. Maybe I think he really does like you. Whole time you was fucking him. And so either the timeline is, like I said, all this was like yesterday and today. So everything is still coming out, is still muddy, but the timeline either way is fucked up, because either way, Wes was plotting on a married woman, or y'all gonna act like there was nothing there this whole time and you didn't have a wandering eye either during your marriage but then why the fuck were you trying to get back with Sierra? Why were you trying to get back with Sierra if you knew you were already fucking her best friend, or that you wanted to fuck her best friend?
I love this comment. I don't really want to watch reality TV. I just want to hear it through Dani. Me too. Listen, some things I want to experience for myself, and some of like Dani's hyperfixations, I'm just totally okay with just hearing the lore as she tells it. I think that'd be good.
Thanks, guys. But that's all I've got. But so if you see anything the next few days about Sierra, we love Sierra, we hate Wes, and Amanda is the backstabber of all time. So yeah, you see anything about Summer House, that's all you need to know. Thanks, guys.
I've literally been trying to just get myself to watch wrestling again, because outside of Dynamite doesn't count just because it's like just part of my schedule. And but obviously I watch outside of AEW, I primarily watch like international wrestling, and like the time zones and everything. It just makes my head hurt. And like recently, it's not that the wrestling is bad. It's not that I don't want to watch it. It's just I've had a lot going on. So I've been trying to watch more wrestling lately. And I promise I will be tuned in this weekend for Sakura Genesis, because that's a really big show. Will Ospreay is on that show. Bro, what? He
on my last nerve right now.
We'll talk about him in a minute.
On my last nerve right now.
I looked at that card. I said, "Well, you don't care, huh?" Anyway, and I've been watching 911, y'all. I have not had a normal day since I started watching 911. Do you want to know how I started watching 911? Would y'all like to know? So, we have a group chat, right? And so like the group chat on Thursdays at 8:00, everybody suddenly starts talking about 911, and they like talk about the episodes and stuff like that. And like obviously I'm one of those people who is typically like, if I haven't seen every episode of something, I don't like to jump in through the middle. But like everybody had been talking about it, and I felt so left out. And also I was really in the middle of a depressive episode. And I'm just like, okay, I have FOMO. I say, okay, I'm gonna turn this on. So I turn on the TV at like 8:03 in the middle of the buddy road trip. Oh my God. They got me.
Hook, line, and sinker, bitch.
They got me to the point to where I have been watching the show in real time every Thursday while still watching it concurrently. I haven't done this since I started watching Doctor Who. Like that, and if you know me, you know how much I watch Doctor Who. It's my all-time comfort show. It's consumed every part of me. My tabs right now look crazy. My tabs, A03 has seen my books app. It's nasty. My Disney Plus account. Oh my gosh.
There's just something about.
I started. You can ask them. I started. What was it? 4 weeks ago? 3 weeks ago? 4 weeks ago? I'm already almost halfway through season 5.
Yes, mind you, there's 9 seasons. Yeah, so it's a lot to get.
I'd be texting the group chat in the middle of the night. It'd be like 3 a.m. I'd be like, "Oh my God, and he's so funny." Oh my God,
we know.
And I'd be like, "When did they do this to Evan Buckley? They want him dead." Yes,
my dear, close personal friend,
Evan Buckley. You
truly the character of all time.
Evan Buckley, you have joined a very, 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 very esteemed club of characters, of protagonists that I don't just enjoy, but I hold you close. I put your picture in a locket.
No, like that's my baby.
Yeah, like y'all really don't get it. It's serious. It's real.
And AJ said Dani 122, but y'all talk about knowing 911 would ruin my life. So here's the thing about 911, right? I never said it was good. I said I love it.
That's how I feel about it. That's what sold me on it, right? Of just in the sense of how to say it. It's very similar for me to Doctor Who in the sense of it's like it's campy. Sometimes the greens, but especially before they took it to Disney, like sometimes the green screens are awful and sometimes this, but it's it's good fun. And this is family, the relationships, the dynamics, they get to your heart. And sometimes they will, after you will have so much dog shit back to back. And
they'll randomly put like the best episode of TV you've ever seen together.
I mean, just generational. Just
this is a show that will give you a B NATO, and then a full blown arc about the importance of found family, domestic violence, and the place that it has, or place that it shouldn't have, and within those things. It will make you watch 6 episodes of a cop and a paramedic in space. But then you're going to get a really harrowing tale about addiction and, how to battle it going through grief. It's not a good show. It is not a good show, but it is my show. And it's funny because you see those things of people being like, oh my God, who the hell keeping this shit on the air? Me.
No, they got me hook, line, and sinker, and to the point to where it's just like I am now retroactively placing myself in as a day one. Like I've even like read the lore of I've read so many Google Docs of like what was happening behind the scenes. Like I want to envision it. I ask questions. I'm like, okay, so what was happening behind the scenes with the writers when this was done and stuff like
my God, don't get me started on that there.
I need to know. And also like before
you will never see heaven, but Kristen,
y'all talk about that lady like the Green Goblin.
Oh my God, because she was. But when she was at that show was unwatchable. As someone who loves that show, oh my God, that shit is terrible. It's terrible.
What seasons was she over?
It was like 5 and 6. Oh. And they're god awful. And also they like wouldn't let half the characters interact, and they forced these new ships on you, and they're like, you're gonna like them. And it's like, no, actually we don't. And they're like, we don't, guess what? We don't care.
I'm gonna tell you right now, we don't care. Also, too, of just like I will say, like the acting, I think in 911, it's just like, bro, these people are like really good to where like I can tell. Well, it just depends, but like the way that certain things have been acted out, even though I know that it wasn't written like that in the script, has opened portals for the future. That like that's also the cool thing about, I think, watching it concurrently, of just like, I'm watching season 9. So by then, like, we had this road trip and stuff like that. I don't want to say too much for people who do want to get into it after it. But then, like, you watch, like, you started. Well, I did watch season 1, but really season 2 is like where a lot of stuff kicks off. You watch it, you're just like, oh, were they building to this like the entire time?
No,
and then like
that's important. That's important. The thing is, it's so clear that there was supposed to be a big happening, and then it didn't happen, and then they said, why? So they give themselves a lot of credit for being like, oh, this was always the plan. Half the time, they don't remember what happened in this damn show.
911 reminds me a lot of AEW.
I was just about to say, there's a lot of overlap, because you have people, you have audience and fans who pay so much attention to something that sometimes, I guarantee you have writers and people in the back like, we forgot about that.
You know what? Buddy is the Hangman Page of 911. Let me tell you why. You know how like AEW tried to convince you that Hangman was always supposed to win the title at All In? Like, yeah, we were building towards this the whole time. No, you weren't.
Because guess what? Without Buddy Baden, y'all show getting canceled. Now what? Without Hangman having won that world title when everybody was fucking with him, you would have been in some serious trouble. No,
we were not coming.
You weren't. That was not the plan. You needed the girls sat in front of they TVs at 8 p.m. That is the AEW and 911 overlap.
We were not coming to Texas. But no, it is literally
going to be here.
It's literally the exact same thing, and that's why it's so funny. Like we talked about this about like with AEW, just like they have a plan that they know that most people might not like, but they also have like a sub plan that's running underneath that that the people do like, but they have no intention of leaning into it. But if they have to be forced to lean into it for any way, they can be able to say, "Oh yeah, we were building to this.
We were always going to do that. We were always going to
do that." That's literally Buddy.
100%.
Like watching this in like hindsight, I'm like, oh yeah, like this is so obvious. This is like an obvious slow burn. Like, like
you would think, but here's the thing. Still haven't done it. I'm firmly of the belief that like it's fun, and it's also never gonna happen. If it was gonna happen, it would have happened in season 4.
That's why I never watched it, right? I had never watched it because I was like, okay, I'm not going to get invested in this thing. I said if it's never going to happen, right? Like I just didn't want to do that to myself. However, 1, the FOMO kicked in, but 2, you want to know why I think actually shifted? I think heated rivalry.
It did.
I think the heated rivalry changed the world in a lot of different ways between people. They said, whoa, do you see how much money they making? And nobody knows these niggas.
But that's the thing. That's the thing with 911, and that's the reason that I don't think that they'll ever do it, because y'all been known. That's been the second most popular ship on AO3 for almost a decade now. Y'all know good and damn well what that would do to y'all numbers. And there's a reason you never straight up shut it down, because you're like, well, then they'll stop watching. But if I think because the show was gonna get canceled after 7, and they said we're gonna have to do something different. Buck, you're gonna have to kiss this boy. We're gonna have to do something different, because that show was gonna get canceled before it moved to ABC. And so like they knew. I just feel like you knew you had to break glass in case of emergency of, oh man, y'all gonna have to make Bug and Eddie kiss. And they still didn't do it, which to me is like, oh, okay, they ain't never gonna do this. I think Ryan Guzman does not want to kiss a man on the screen. And that is the only reason that we do not have Buddy Cannon. I've always believed that. Because if you're the writers and you're the people putting this show on, you know how much money is in that shit. Why not do it? There's only one reason.
Did you see the report to where like Tim was like, yeah, we had plans for like a female love interest earlier this year. There was no chemistry. We just couldn't even like keep up with it. Like it was just like we just had to pull.
Oh, what a surprise.
We had to pull the plug. He said it just wasn't going to work. It's just not going to work at this point. Of just
they don't have Eddie get with that girl.
Eddie's gonna have to be a priest, and they're like at this point.
I know he's gonna get with that girl from CPS.
Who?
Kim, whatever her name is.
The one that drove Chris away?
No, the one that was there for that case where the kid was getting abused, and then they had like.
Oh, I'm not there yet.
Oh yeah,
I'm not there yet. Who knows? Though?
All Elite Wrestling had a show tonight. It was called Dynamite.
Kind of important.
I genuinely forgot we weren't just like talking.
I'm gonna be honest. Yeah, we've gotten.
So we're gonna skip the beginning.
Okay. I only have a few things that I want to talk about. I want to talk about the women's division. I want to talk about Kenny Omega, and I want to talk about Darby Allin.
Oh, I don't want to talk about that.
No, I think it's, but I think we have to talk about.
Wait, but okay, before we talk about those things individually, I wanted to talk about those two matches.
Oh yes, that's important. Pac versus Ospreay. Will Ospreay, I would like you to know that I know whenever your music hits, your neck surgeon suddenly starts convulsing and they have no idea why.
Phantom pains.
And like
William Peter Charles, I got a lot of messages for you. First and foremost, curl cream is your friend. It is your friend. Don't run from it. So I would put that up there. I also like, it's important to me that you know that like you do get one neck. Like you do only get one.
Correct.
You have no spares.
Correct.
And I feel like maybe that's not clicking all the way.
It's not. Wait, no, I think it does. I just don't think he doesn't care. I think again, if you've been watching Ospreay for a long time,
scarier.
If you've been watching Ospreay for a long time, especially in his New Japan days, he's flat out said, listen, I'm here for a good time, not a long time. I am fully aware that this career is not going to be super long, but we're going to make it as iconic as possible. I want you to know. That's why when I saw those reports talking about some, Will Ospreay will be modifying his style of stuff. Modify is the modifier in the room with us?
And the thing is, right, when he first started having, oh my God, I'm not going to get into that. That's boring. But I'll give you the TLDR. When he first started having neck troubles, not before the first injury, when he first started having neck troubles, he did try to modify his style. And guess what? He hated it and the audience hated it. And it was just never going to stick. And so when those reports came out, I was like, no way that's going to happen, because he is somebody, obviously we don't know these people, but he is somebody to me that like is very much like, man, they want to see the hits.
No, I think also too, I don't feel like you have to know him personally to be able to say those things by like, it's honest to God given fact. It's just true. Like in the sense of, you look at the people who he looked up to, Omega, Tanahashi. These are guys who they are going to go out on their back doing the hits. You can't escape out of Kenny's cold, dead hands. Okay. Exactly. They literally had to put
that high fly flow was coming.
That high fly flow. Oh my gosh. Literally until his last day. Until his very last day. The knees were made out of paper mache. That don't matter.
Getting up there.
Ospreay's from that cloth. He's from that, he's from that cloth. He's acknowledged it. And especially now, I'm even more worried now that he's dropped weight a lot, because seems like he's almost going like back to full cruiserweight, and it's like, oh shit. Like
I don't think that I have a hard time thinking that that's intentional, because he spent so much time and energy and he had such a vested interest in becoming a heavyweight that I think that that's just probably a product of you being freshly back. Like, I don't think
yes, but that doesn't negate the fact that now that while he is still this size, he's flying. He's flying, spinning, jumping. He's doing all the things. He scares me. Even, and also to the full drama club rendition beforehand of just like, oh, I can't do it, mate. I can't do it, mate. Oh my God.
I'm gonna try to fight through it, bruv.
The drama the drama. Yeah, man. I think that he is fully aware. He said this is for a good time, not a long time. And you know who else is also like that? Pac. My God, my goodness alive. I was actually in the building for the match that they had it all out. And this was a completely different match. Like, it's really hard to even compare them. But these are two people who have been injured since then. Like, since they've been injured, went off out, came back since then, and they are still freaks.
And I want to say, like, there were a lot of people who, when this match was announced, were like, oh my God, Dani. And I was like, yes, this is for me. This is my match. Pac is, I've always been a Pac shooter. I've always been a Pac defender. Even when people be like, oh, I don't understand. It's like, no, you guys, he is so capable, and he has been underutilized, in my opinion, in AEW since the minute that he got there, because I don't think people understand his versatility. And I think, like, kind of to your point, like, since his injury, because he's had a couple, but since his most recent injury, he has been so effective in doing what we just credited Jericho with, but modifying his in-ring style to suit his new make and model. He has such incredible body control that it's actually absurd. And the ability that you can put on that much mass and still be able to do the Black Arrow, still be able to perform some of those moves. But now it's like, oh no, but y'all gonna have to wait to see that. Like, I'm not gonna do that every time. That's gonna be, but I can. But I can. Can y'all make a public plea to Pac to stop wearing that mess? Yes. Girl, take that off. Quit pissing me off. And so this match,
I like Pac's current getup.
I'm gonna mute someone else. This match, I thought this match was great. I think these people have, I think Pac and Ospreay are so similar, in a way that I don't think a lot of people see, but they're so similar. They're both capable of being incredibly quick, and they're both very creative wrestlers. And I feel like Pac does not get to demonstrate his creativity very often because he's been pigeonholed as only being able to do certain things and only being utilized in small ways.
And utilized within factions.
So you're serving your purpose, and it's like, no, this man can go. And he is so versatile, and he is so creative, and I want to see him in so much more singles competition, but I want to see him in singles competition where he can show what he can do, not just serve a purpose. And that's why I was excited for this one, because I said, Billy Goat, they're going to speed it up.
Even when I saw, like, they got the special graphic, I said, oh, this is going to be a real match. Good. I also think that, well, not that I think. Personally, I wanted Pac and Ospreay to be the Wembley match 2 years ago. Like, honestly, I wasn't like, if you ask me this, but when Ospreay won the international title, I was like, okay, he's not going to Wembley this year as for the world title, which I also agreed with. And I was like, we need Ospreay versus Pac in Wembley. I think that'd be perfect. They went with MJF and it ended up being a good match, but I think that feud was just, we've talked about how I feel about their chemistry.
Its own set of challenge, and which I agree with.
Correct. But yeah, if it was up to me, I really think that if Pac and Ospreay had fought in Wembley, they would have tore the house down.
And that's, I just wish Pac, to me, is like, I know everybody's got like their one that's like, if you give this guy the ball and like really gave him, like, you know, because he's also an incredible character. He's one of the spookiest bitches on the roster. I want to say, I was someone who in the early days of the Death Riders was like, no, the leader should have been Pac. We've seen Mox be world champion 3 times over, now 4. Like, he needs to be somebody else, somebody who's able to do this. And if you remember, the beginning of the Death Riders was fucking boring and fucking shit. And it could have had life, and it could have been more interesting if Pac would have held it down. But I digress. My point being, tonight's match, near and dear to my heart. Pac, my demon, you not going nowhere. I will be seeing you on August 30th. Well, I'm not going, but I will be seeing you.
Never mind.
I don't know.
We'll see. Bro, I'm gonna be honest. I don't want to buy a ticket too early because truly, I only want to go to Wembley if Kenny's in the main event. If Kenny's not in the main event, I'm being
I
honest.
don't need to go. That's what I'm saying.
Like because here's the thing: we already know how this ends. Ospreay wins regardless. And that's just a done deal. And I'm sure it's going to be a great moment for everybody in attendance, no matter who he's up against. However, me personally,
I don't need to be there for that.
I'm on Kenny's staff only. This you see, this is for staff. You know, that flight, that section of the plane that's gonna be crossing the ocean, staff only. I'm
so serious. I'm not crossing an ocean.
No,
unless Kenny Omega's in the main event. And I'm not saying that it's like well, if I'm not gonna be there, you guys can't do it. It's just like I do have an interest in seeing the rest of the show, absolutely, but it is a very expensive endeavor
to think about what we already know. What do we know about All In at Wembley Stadium? We know Hangman can't challenge for the world title. We know Tony Storm ain't gonna be there. We already know, like, yes, there's a lot of good pieces, and like, you know, I think it's going to be a great card, but as far as like star power and like, you know, as far as me personally, my personal interest, to be motivated to buy a European flight for her and set up housing and you know, now the difference between now versus when I first went all in is that guess what, you have to have a visa now to go to the UK. Like you have to.
It's like 2 seconds.
I mean, I know, but I'm just saying, like, it's just one extra step that I would have to do, and I think it's like $35, which is not bad, but it's like it's just an extra step. I'm leaving with something.
I don't need to be there. I would like to go regardless. I only need to be there if Kenny Omega's in the main event. Absolutely. And that's why I'm like literally keep being so wishy-washy about it, because I'm like, okay, if I'm not doing that, then I'm going on another vacation. So I need to figure out, like, yeah, I don't know who needs to, like, AEW, just like DM me. You can whisper in my ear. I won't tell nobody.
Correct.
Whether or not I need to get this flight.
That's also how I felt, honestly, about Dynasty, because I felt like I needed to be a Dynasty because I thought that Kenny was going to win the world title. I don't think Kenny's going to win. So I'm not going to bumfuck Vancouver just to watch my goat lose. I ain't going to lie. If I fly out the country, if I go to Canada, just so you could say, yeah, we got Darby up next. Sorry, but
we're going to talk about that.
Kenny, I will walk down to that ring and I will grab that belt for you. Do you understand me?
Hey, you grab the belt and I'm grabbing the goat, because that's not an option. We get out of there.
You think taking flights to lose our first pay-per-view main event, singles pay-per-view main event since Full Gear 21, and
it's also like, now we'll switch to talking about Darby, because we've talked about it on this show before. Man, ain't nobody checking for Darby fucking Allin. And you know, we've already belabored the point that, like, his moment has come and gone. If he was going to be world champion, he shouldn't have climbed Mount Everest, or he should have not got hit by that bus. But, you know, or he should have been world champ. He should have come back, beat Mox right after he came back from Everest. Right now, he seems incredibly out of place as a serious world title contender, because he's been fucking around with the War Dogs and with Orange Cassidy, acting like they doing half of something for however long. And now he's all of a sudden he's saying, I want to be here. I'm gonna step to Kenny Omega. Kenny Omega? Do you understand we got grown man business to take care of right now?
I also think too, guys, y'all, and this is a testament to how good I think MJF has been. Darby is not Max's peer right now. I'm sorry. Like, if you mean to tell me at this point, by then, MJF will have defeated Hangman clean, defeated Kenny, I'm assuming clean, has defeated Speedball, has defeated Kevin Knight, has defeated no, he hasn't wrestled Andrade yet. He has think about the list of challenges. Oh, Bandito, clean. He's defeated Brody King. Think about all the people that MJF has put down, and a lot of these people he has beaten clean, which he's rarely done in his career before then. You mean to tell me that this version of Darby is going this version of Darby and this version of MJF are not peers? There was a time when they were, pillars, and they were side by side. And honestly, compared to the other, they've always been a cut above the other pillars for one reason or another. However, the gap, it's like MJF, it was Darby, it was Jungle Boy, and Sammy. Whatever. But now the gap between MJF and Darby is astronomical. And the gap, I'm gonna be honest, I'm also saying too, the gap between Darby and Jack Perry has also gotten.
Yep. And I think that honestly, it'd be a lot more believable to me to have Darby Allin feuding with Hook than
right now, yes,
for the world title. And I'm not over exaggerating. I'm not kidding.
No,
Darby Allin has been doing nothing of substance since he came back. And he has not been believable as a world title contender. And like you said, you're reading out the list of names of people who have already fallen to MJF. And the thing is, this is to MJF's credit. Because Absolutely. we're not 100%. Saying like, it's that, okay, honestly, taking Kenny out of this, why would it be Darby Allin? If we are looking at this situation, like I firmly believe, okay, I want Kenny to win, obviously, because my plans are for Kenny Omega's my client. MJF ain't got nothing to do with me. Kenny Omega's my client.
Correct.
But if MJF is supposed to wrestle Darby Allin, just have MJF keep the belt. Just have him keep it.
Yes, I think that truly MJF has had such a good reign to the point where I don't think anybody other than Kenny is worthy of taking the belt off of him until Wembley. I honestly don't. I can't think of a guy like, and don't get me wrong, I think this is a stacked world title scene, and I think so many guys are good. I'm talking about right now in the current lineage, there is nobody who is good enough right now other than Kenny Omega who makes sense to take that title off Max until Wembley.
And even if, and I agree with that. And if I was making a list, do you know
Darby still wouldn't be on it?
You know how long it would take me to get to Darby Allin.
And think about it. We can just go by the people who've already lost to MJF, and we could just line them up and say, like, this is the new succession for the world title. And that would be perfectly acceptable.
Yes.
Of just, bro, Darby's not there right now. And I think it sucks. I don't know who, hey, everybody's entitled to do whatever they're entitled to do. Like, Darby going to Everest, that was completely your decision. TK is the booker. He does whatever. But my thing is, you can't force timing. Darby had two great opportunities when it would make perfect sense for him to be champion. Number one was after Sting retired. That would have been he was coming off crazy momentum, right? Like, of just that would have made perfect sense. And the second one was obviously the Death Rider story when he was, trying to fight off the big bad of Mox and things like that. Both of those opportunities were squandered for one reason or another. However, you can't force it now. You're trying to like force him into the lineage because you feel like you owe him this. But the timing is all rough. Like, he's not one of the biggest stars on TV anymore. No. He was and there was a time he was. Yes. But we've done rinse.
But that's not now.
Darby is a fantastic TV wrestler, probably one of the greatest to ever do it, right? He's always going to get a reaction from the live crowd. But from a narrative perspective, it feels like when Darby comes out every week, it feels like a reset happens in my brain of like, I have no idea what he was doing last week. I have no idea what storyline he's in. It's just like, okay, this is a good match. Now, okay, sure.
Now move on.
And then move on. It's all in silos. And I think that there's a lot of work that will have to occur to realistically turn him into a legitimate contender? Because I don't think it's impossible, but it's going to take more than one pay-per-view cycle. I'll tell you that much.
And I gotta be honest,
rush it. I don't want to. It's definitely not going to happen before All In.
No, and I was gonna say, and like, I don't care to see it. Like, there's just so much going on elsewhere that it's like it feels forced. It 100% feels forced, and it's not natural. Someone said, I wonder if Darby is just a safety net for if they don't feel comfortable with Will for Wembley or to carry the belt past Wembley, or if it's just teasing for Owen tournament matches. Let me tell you this right now. There is exactly a 0% chance that William Peter Charles Ospreay is not being primed to be world champion at Wembley Stadium. The reality is, even if Ospreay, like what he has told us and told his doctors, is quite simply that he will do anything he needs to do in order to be there. He will lie. He will tell people he's fine if he's not fine.
Correct.
He will do whatever he needs to do. Now, I'm not encouraging that behavior. I'm just saying, like, and AEW, who is depending so heavily on Ospreay to move so many tickets, is not gonna tell that man no. Is not gonna ask him any follow-up questions. Is not gonna say, "Did your doctor really say that?" Because they need him there. So I think that Darby, to me, the most likely thing is that Darby has a short world title reign that's somehow mixed back in this. I don't know who, I don't know when, where, how, but it's definitely giving that they want you to know that Darby Allin is, everybody's declaring that they want the world title. They want you to know Darby Allin is actively engaged in this, because now you've got Kenny, number one contender, who's all up in Darby's face. And so something is going to happen concerning Darby Allin. They want you to start thinking about him as an equal in that stance.
You mean,
and I just don't.
Even if Kenny eventually beat Darby, like, bro, who wants to see that? No, that's a Dynamite match. You mean to tell me you put Kenny and Swerve on Dynamite, but Darby and Kenny would be on pay-per-view?
And even that, man, like, I'm looking around and I am considering how much time we have with Kenny Omega, or how much time we don't have with Kenny Omega. Nigga, I got some clients to get to. We don't have time for Darby.
And I'm gonna be honest, I was already doing y'all a favor by being generous enough to accept how much would have been, it would have been what, a 4-month reign for Kenny from Dynasty to All In. That was me being generous, because let me tell you something, nigga like me wanted 365 days minimum.
Hey, I'm looking for a Roman reign. That's what I wanted.
I want a Roman's reign.
That's what I was booking for Kenny. The idea that somehow we might have to chop that up to accommodate Darby Allin.
Darby?
Sickening.
We're not talking about Bandito. We're not talking about Andrade. We're not talking about Takeshita. We're not
talking about practice.
We're not even talking about putting the title back on Swerve. We talk about Darby. Wow. I don't know, man. And the thing is, again, I do think like we are one of those turning points right now for AEW when they figure out because Dynasty last year was like that turning point for AEW when they was like, oh no, they're not fucking with it. They're not fucking with the plan. We got to pivot. And so I think we're here.
Go ahead.
I'll say I think we're in that point again where it's going to be like they going to see how far they can take this.
Dynasty is a feeler pay-per-view. Dynasty is not an original pay-per-view that they always used to have. Dynasty is, hold on, let's get what the temperature is on all this stuff before we really get into the summer. Because the summer is when AEW says, all right, this is what we got. This is the best we can do. So they spend all that time building to Revolution. They throw Dynasty in there to say, what do you guys really want? And then we keep it pushing.
And also, too, I think they'll say, like, obviously it has no impact, but Dynasty is also a pay-per-view that's what, a week before WrestleMania, of just they just doing stuff just because of just, and they know, especially if WrestleMania ends up trending the way that I think is going to trend, it ends up being like god awful, AEW has no choice but to be really good, like, you know, after WrestleMania. And so like by Double or Nothing, people expect you to be locked in. Last year, Revolution, great until the end, but it did spoil. You know, it had been a great show. Dynasty mixed bag, but then suddenly we get Double or Nothing, godly. They're calling it the greatest of all time. Double or Nothing last year almost made me shed real tears at numerous points. That show was beautiful. Anarchy in the Arena, my goodness alive. That the main event, Hangman Ospreay, the Owen finals, Mercedes Jamie, like the best that the Owen Hart tournament had ever been. All of this, like, by Double or Nothing, what's not clicking? You have to convince, because here's the thing, at the end of the day, anything under 50K, I think, will be considered a failure. And it should be. You do have to get butts in seats. And y'all, just, I'm so scared because this is gonna go. And my thing is, what I don't want to happen, because he deserves so much more than that, is if this fails, y'all gonna try to hurry up and put the Kenny the world title on Kenny or something like Forbidden Door, and then be like, yeah, here's a month for the build of just, y'all didn't do that to Bryan Danielson, I'll tell you that.
And that's the thing too. I don't know.
There's a conversation to be had about that.
Kenny and I, we gotta talk, because we gotta.
Speaking of
Kenny, I see plans for you that you don't see. That's all. Kenny Omega glazing section.
Kenny Omega, they put you up and down my TV all night tonight. You showed
just
up
like I drew it up.
You literally did commentary naked. There will never be another you. I want you to know. I looked at that screen. I said, I don't think I'm ever gonna love anybody like this. I said this. It scares me. It, honest to God, scares me. I've never seen anything like it. He sounded amazing. His thoughts were clear. He was funny. He was charismatic. We got a full acknowledgement of the Golden Lovers tonight. Shout out to Max. You know, he was being an indirect ally.
No, not shout out to him, because
let's throw rocks.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I just think that I need to make it abundantly clear, Kota Ibushi is not on the table. I know we've had all these heels in the past couple weeks be like, oh, and then your good friend Kota Ibushi, Max today, oh, your boyfriend Kota Ibushi. I don't play about him.
You know what though?
I don't.
It's actually crazy. It was so funny. And it speaks to just the type of disasters that Kenny has concocted in All Elite Wrestling. That when Max was talking, he was just saying like, yeah, your boyfriend. I didn't know what name was about to come out his mouth. I didn't know what he was about to say.
I thought maybe he was talking about Heyman for a second.
I thought, me too. I said, wow, Kenny, your power. You can get caught up at any given direction. Also, bro, Kenny, you're a liar. Like, I think also
too. Stay lying. Like, why does that keep coming out your mouth?
He said, yeah, I've never in my life said that I was the god of pro wrestling.
Like the third week in a row that
I've never said
on that.
But the way that he says it, to the point where it's almost like he knows that he's lying, and he knows that you know that he's lying, but he also knows that the people love him so much that they're never going to hold him accountable for it. And he's right.
It's just so funny to me, because you could literally just say something else, but he's like, no, I'm gonna say it week in, week out. I've never called myself a god. You know that ain't true. I'm so tempted to just make a compilation, but it would take so long.
This is a good comment saying Dynasty in my heart is the black AEW pay-per-view. Previous ones had black people like Swerve and Willow title wins, and Kevin Knight and Mercedes had their own matches last year. Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. I have that card. Is anybody black look for the card yet? I know people will be. I'm not, but we do gotta what last year it was 8 black people on the card or something like that. We got work.
No, I don't remember, but
we got work to do. Yeah, it's also weird. A lot of things are going to be weird this year just because the schedule is completely different, right? Like, of just this time last year, the Owens started at Dynasty, and like the Owens going to start a lot later this year. You can tell just because last year All In started on July 12th versus this year All In is August 30th, and so instead of it being Double or Nothing All In Forbidden Door, we're going to have Double or Nothing Forbidden Door All In. And probably some more space in between there. Because I remember last year we had all those summer specials. There was Summer Blockbuster, and then Grand Slam Mexico, and all these different. So it's just a different schedule. So I'm interested to see like how they actually build some of this stuff out. But yeah, like Kenny, I'm not even going to say stop lying because at this point you've done it so much. You're not.
I just want you to know that we know that
we know. We watched you terrorize these people. Now, just because they forgave you without apologies does not mean that
you didn't do it.
You did do it. You made Hangman's life a living hell. You literally tortured Ospreay and told him that
you came up with new words to call Ospreay a bum.
You looked at all his achievements. Every award that he won, every 5-star match he said. You think that mattered? You think that was something?
I love you. You are not a good person. Those things can be true.
However, these people, I see why you act the way that you do, because the second that you turn up, the way that they start acting is crazy. Kenny comes back after a long time with Hangman in the ring. He says, "Stop. Hi. Oh my goodness. Hey. Oh my God." They told Ospreay, yes, you could team up with Kenny in Australia. Kenny Omega. I can team with Kenny Omega. Literally, they started climbing things.
He was trying to kill you.
They started climbing things together. They were on that scaffold, and Ospreay looking at him like, "Oh my God, we got the Tennessee. We got the Tennessee." He's my favorite liar, truly. And then he just sounded great. I think like that was really cool. Kenny gets a lot of flack on him for as a promo sometimes, but I think that he's such an effective promo. Like when he's locked in,
yes,
he's my guy. What else did I wanted to say? This was not a big part of the show tonight because neither of these people are on the show tonight. But I need to talk about Konosuke Takeshita and Kyle Fletcher, who I hope is doing well, and I hope like he's not like injured, like for real. I never thought I'd say this, but it's very similar to how I feel about the women's division. I'm tired. Like, bro, I'm so sick of all this stalling. We are stalling. We're doing a bunch of nothing. Takeshita is walking around Japan getting treated like a god. You have that at your disposal every single week, and you're doing nothing. And also, too, just like even Okada had that fantastic match with Kevin Knight over the weekend. Just all these people are doing great works, and it doesn't feel like it actually means anything. It's in silos, and it's just like, bro, how long are we going to stretch this out? Everybody, don't get me wrong. Some of the things we do need the long-term book until All In. All of these stories cannot go to All In, bro.
No.
Can't. They literally can't.
Because it's a lot of this is dragging. Like Proto Shida is dragging. Like Brawling Birds versus Divine Dominion, that's dragging. Like it's just things that people like. We know what's gonna happen, and like yes, there should be elements of like that, and like yes, our long-term storytelling, but not if it's gonna compromise the current product.
Right. Takeshita won the G1 Climax and the IWGP Heavyweight title last year, and now he is like what, 4th on the totem pole in the Don Callis family right now.
And they're gonna put the belt on Darby Allin.
And also, too, I think it's really shady, and I think it's really nasty, and we do need to have some conversations in the sense that, bro, Takeshita isn't even really getting pushed right now, and he's getting better reactions than a lot of y'all. Like, babyface Takeshita get the people moving. And even when the crowds are not even at their best, people are genuinely getting out their seats and popping and locking for Takeshita.
As they should be.
He's that guy. He's the guy. I'm just really worried right now. I'm really frustrated. I'm gonna be honest. I'm frustrated with everything. I think the only people in AEW right now who are being presented as legitimate threats and are, as being presented like as stars with great momentum is obviously MJF, Kenny, Swerve, even though he wasn't on TV this week. I wonder where he is. Who else? Ospreay. Surprisingly, both members of Jet Speed, I think, are being portrayed are being presented well, very well right now. That's probably it. I think as far as men go, even Kyle Fletcher, even with the TNT title, I'm gonna be honest, Kyle Fletcher is not doing much. It's these holding patterns, and it's even worse, as bad as it is for the men. Oh my gosh, the women's division, I'll just be quite honest, bro. I'm not having a good time. I'm not. I'm bored. I'm so bored.
Because it's
so repetitive. We only cycle the same teams out. Yes, you let everybody beat Sisters of Sin because you don't want to have any competitive matches because you're trying to protect everybody. It's just so to the point to where you've taken all the fire out of the Willow Reign. Harley walked out of Babes of Wrath with more momentum than Willow in a lot of ways, which is insane. We haven't seen Chris Statlander since Revolution. Thekla, I think, is doing a great job of talking, but it's just like, I think she's almost kind of like what I was saying about Darby is she performs well on a night-to-night basis. Is there any overarching narrative that she's a part of that I think is pulling people in? No.
I agree with that. And Ron said, I don't think anyone in the women's division is being presented well. Even Thekla's world champion is just kind of there. Yeah. Because they don't
There's
have
only one person in the women's division that's being presented well, and that's Marina Shafir. And you can do that what you want, or do it with that information what you want. Speaking of the Ron, want to circle back to the super chat. Thank you for $5. Can we sprinkle some of what they're doing with the men's world title scene over to the women's title scene? All three titles feel stuck in limbo. Really glad that you brought this up because I talked about this on the Russell Pierce stream yesterday. I think that AEW turned the corner last year when they essentially rolled out a starting lineup, right? In the sense of, for the men's picture of just like, there is, because I was debating with Monty, he was like, yeah, MJF is the guy. None of the other guys are the guy. Of just like, and he is the guy of AEW, and everybody else just wasn't able to they weren't able to basically they might have been world champion, but they weren't the guy. And I can understand elements of that, right? But I think that the thing about AEW specifically versus a place like WWE is because it's an ensemble cast. There's never going to be one singular star that, basically floats the boat for everything. I think that's also why MJF is doing better, because for a long time, MJF was
he had to be everything.
He was, but not even just that, he was isolated from his peers. There was a time when MJF was only working veterans. Think about his programs: Jericho, Punk, he was doing he was working exclusively with niggas over 35, no, over 40. For a long time. And he wasn't really allowed to work with a lot of his peers. And I think that it isolated him in a lot of ways. And I think it also isolated some of his peers out. And what we saw last year specifically was the first time I think that AEW really embraced the starting lineup of letting all of these people work together. With you had the Swerve, Hangman, Ospreay, Hangman, MJF started off the year in Revolution, and you just start rotating these four out. AEW's women's division has never had that. And they took the complete opposite approach with the women's division in the sense of we have two stars that are going to float our boat. And honestly, I'm going to be honest, really more like one in the sense just because Mercedes is more like when Bryan Danielson came to AEW in the sense of you have this already made legend that you just kind of like slot in. You don't have to build her, really. She's Mercedes Moné. Tony is it. Maybe Mariah was supposed to be the other one, probably. So sure. Tony is it. And I'm looking at it right now, just Tony was QB1, Mercedes is QB2, but now Mercedes is now QB1. There is no QB2. Even though Thekla has the world title, even though Willow has the TBS title, like and it shouldn't be that way, right? In that period of time, we should have been able to establish like a top 4, top 5. Willow and Stat should have been in those positions, and Athena. I think like those should be should have been the top 5 supreme beings of the women's division. And yes, now all these people have had title reigns and things like that, but you didn't really develop them and present them. And so now it's floundering. There's no leadership, and it would be unfair to even put that on Thekla to be that person.
Absolutely, because she just got here.
She's done the best with everything that she's been given, but we have not presented any of these people as a clear equal to a Tony or a Mercedes, and hell, we still have to see what does Mercedes as QB1 even look like, because that still has not happened yet. It's going to happen. I'm fully confident it's going to happen.
I think coupled with that, like you have, like with Tony specifically, like obviously she was on TV one day and then gone the next. And so they wrote her off TV, but she didn't co-sign anybody. You know what I mean?
Correct.
Like and I think that it's kind of a mark of and emblematic of everything that you were just saying, which is like, there should have been somebody in the spot that she was able to hand the ball off to, and before she left. You know what I mean? Like, you wrote her off TV, and obviously, she's got her own situation. I'm not even commenting on that. I'm just saying, like, you had her there to do an angle at the end, and we didn't have anybody primed for that position to step up. And that's when it really shows. It's like, okay, there was no time to build anything. So now it's really just a matter of where's everybody right now. And there was no build. There was no bringing this next person up. And even this happening in a time where Mercedes isn't here, Mercedes isn't back yet. So it's like, there was, like you said, it's just emblematic of all that, because there was nobody to hand the ball off to.
And the thing is, people are gonna say, "Oh yeah, they did hand off the ball." And like, here's the thing: I'm not saying that Chris Statlander is the perfect talker. I'm not even saying that Willow is like the perfect wrestler or anything like that. But when you think about how long they had been the backbone of the division, like the backbone, even when Tony and Mariah's shit was getting really aggy, even when Mercedes hadn't fully, hit her stride in AEW, Willow Stat, their non-title feud was the backbone of the women's division. They carried it, and they've been here for so long. But especially somebody like Stat, for her to have been in the company for 6 years, and for her world title reign to happen so abruptly in a 4-way match like and then guess what? Willow finally beating Mercedes. There was a week build, and then 1 week. And she won it.
Dynamite.
It was fun. Don't get me wrong, because she's great. And yes, you did this, but you literally did not give them the proper resources and tools that they need. They didn't get the big build year-long story that Mariah got. They didn't get that. They did not. They didn't get this this great climb to the, and then when people get in these positions and then they fail or they don't reach expectations, they suddenly get called like the worst in the world, and they're not all that. And you just got to understand, they were not given the tools to succeed, because your homegrown stars should have been built. Stat could have had the same type of trajectory as a Hangman, in the sense of building this for months and these redemption stories, and then you they deserved better than that. And I can already see the way that people talking about this Willow reign, maybe we should just take the title off her at this point. Bro, it shouldn't have been like that. No. It shouldn't have been like that. But also we are at a point where even if you put it on somebody else, if they're not, AEW does not trust anybody not named Tony, bro. They don't trust.
And now she's not an option. So what do you do? And that's the thing, because it's okay, y'all looking and be okay, no, this Willow reign was not. Someone said, yeah, they have not allowed her to capitalize on it. Part of it's because they also had her being a tag champion, and you had all these storylines intertwined, and I kind of had everybody doing a whole lot of nothing as a result. But it's okay, you're looking at it and you're this TBS belt, for example. Well, there is nobody bigger than Willow Nightingale to contend for that belt. Because if you got Mercedes going for the world title, which we assume that she will do, and you're saying, oh, we got to get the belt off Willow, where does it go? If you're saying right now the belt doesn't feel as big, right now the belt feels like it's not being treated the way it should be treated, you think that's going to improve with just putting it on someone else?
I do want to be very clear in that the fact is, this is not individual to Willow. Mercedes also did not, the last 6 months of Mercedes' TBS title reign was, I'm not going to say it was boring, because her matches were great, but everything in between, there was no narrative. There was no story. You want to know the only person who she really had a real storyline with for the TBS title with, and last year, it was Harley.
And we had half a moment where we could have introduced Athena to all of this, and as a mainstay.
We ended up spending several pay-per-views where Mercedes isn't even defending the TBS title because she's challenging for something else, which, again, the belt collector story, I get it. But also, too, when you have a division that only gets matches, only getting 2 matches per pay-per-view, losing a TBS title match on the card really did hurt, of just, I understand it. I get it. They put everything to build these rock solid campaigns for Mercedes and Tony, and it worked. It worked. I'm not going to deny it worked. It did pay off. Back-to-back PWI number ones, women wrestler of the year. It worked.
I think it's literally the age-old adage of, all your eggs in one basket, or correct, all your eggs in 2 baskets.
Absolutely. That's exactly what happened. And there's nothing to show for it. And now you have Megan Bain is holding down the tag division, which is great. I'm gonna be honest, I really like Divine Dominion. But it's one of those, but it's kind of what are we going to do with them in the meantime? I'm so sick of seeing the same match over and over again. We watched every single variation of Babes of Wrath versus Megan and Penelope, Megan and Marina, Megan and Lee, a million different times, And the thing is, I think that I get so frustrated with AEW is because you have so many resources. Even if you don't want your girls to get pinned, you have so many of it. You have no problem calling CMLL to for opponents for these men. Call CMLL, call Stardom, call these people, bring them in. What are we doing?
It's lazy. It's lazy.
It's so lazy and it's boring. It's gotten to the point to where I feel disgusted with myself for being so disgusted with them, because I look at this roster, and this roster is my perfect roster almost. The AEW women's roster is one of the most perfect women's rosters I think I've ever seen. There's somebody,
and yet they act like they have no choices.
But we always seem to have time for building projects. And I think there are too many people being pushed based off of what they could potentially do versus what they've actually proven that they can do. And don't get me wrong, talent is always developing. And I think a good example is a Kevin Knight, right? Yes, we see potential in him of who he could be, but he's also performing right now. He's also giving
good already.
He's giving enjoyable performances right now. He's a star right now. He's championship worthy. It might not be world title right yet, but he's worthy right now. We are giving people who don't even have the baseline grasp on like wrestling fundamentals of like the running the ropes, nigga. We would be just like, oh, she's funny, she's silly, ha ha ha, la 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 la.
Fun, la, la,
and
la.
it sucks because it's just like, as a woman who loves women's wrestling, of just, you know, you always have to realize like, yes, there's a strict line between being able to criticize fairly without descending into like a heap of misogyny, and of just because some people take it absolutely too far. But I think because of that, and because of the nature of how the wrestling community talks about women, it keeps a lot of people from feeling like they can openly criticize things and, like, you know, criticize women and be honest about things not working or things not fitting. And I think like we're playing these games and we're lying to ourselves, you know, of just, no, women's wrestling is amazing. Women's wrestling is strong. There are so many amazing wrestlers, but some people are not that great, or are not that great right now. And here's the thing, I believe in giving everybody the chance to grow, but there are people who should be on Ring of Honor who are on Dynamite every other week. That is the issue. You know, I believe that people should be in their appropriate place. And the thing is, that's the problem. AEW has no mid card.
Yeah, anywhere.
Yeah, I know. Like, and it really goes back to Babe's Wrath. Like, I hate to keep bringing it up, but we're now in a situation, like, even when I'm looking at Stardom card, like, why is Harley being positioned as an equal to Willow and Kris Statlander?
Because there's no mid card. But I know what you mean. Yeah, it's all their own doing. That's the thing with AEW, is that, like I said, they like to act like they write themselves into a corner, and then they say, well, what are we supposed to do about it? Girl, you put us here. I just think that the reality is, like, it's incredibly disappointing that this is boring right now, because there's no valid reason that all of this talent should result in a stale division, because that's what it is. It's absolutely, like, that division is lifeless.
I'm so not into it, guys. Really not.
Okay, what else? I am sleepy. What else?
I think that was really it. Like, all I really wanted to hit on. We glazed Kenny Omega. Oh, well, did we talk about Speedball MJF? I think we did.
I loved this match.
Absolutely. And I loved Speedball getting the opportunity. I loved Speedball getting live mic time. I think they rocked it. The shirt was really tight. I said, oh my God, I never didn't know that you got down like this before.
I had to show up for the hometown.
Girls, gays, and days.
Canada down.
You know, I'm Canada down. I'm kind of like down.
No, I really loved this match. I thought that, I think we both love Speedball, but, you know, love Speedball. Was excited to see them have this opportunity, but I felt like they had great chemistry, honestly. I wasn't really sure what to expect out of this.
Me neither.
I thought they had great chemistry, and I think that MJF looked really good in this. And I think I don't know, like, I don't like the idea of him holding the belt until Wembley, because I want Kenny Omega to have it. And but also, the reality is, if it's not going to be Kenny Omega, just keep it.
And here's the thing. We don't talk about MJF like a dog on this show so many times. Like, I mean,
we'll continue to do so.
Him to hell. However, I think that if you are not acknowledging the generational work he's doing right now, you're just a liar. Like you're like flat out a liar. This is a top 3 AEW world title reign already. Like, this is absolutely exceptional. He has clearly learned from his mistakes. Like, he still does stupid stuff.
That's what I was gonna say. As like, I feel like almost all of the criticisms that we've leveled against him in his first world title reign, like since he's won the belt back, he has you can't level those same criticisms against him. He has learned.
Absolutely.
And I think at the end of the day, right, like wrestling more helps, of course it does. But in a promotion that really, really prides itself on the ring the bell graps, like he has been also producing. Yes, he's been doing, interesting storylines, and he has, all these different world title contenders. These matches have been really good, if not great, all of them.
And you can tell he wants it. And I think that's also the thing of, I think there for a while, there was a disconnect between MJF and I think AEW fans, especially when he started going on the rants about like WWE guys and a whole bunch of stuff. And just like, do you even really want to be here? And I think he has successfully shown the audience that like he is all in, and I think he's taken the ball and ran with it in ways of just, he has put that on his shoulders, that responsibility on his shoulders. And you can just tell like how he takes it personally. And I think audiences are always more, what's the word I want to use? Like, they're always, I don't want to say nicer, but they're always more understanding of people if they know that they care, like they care. And I think that that's been a disconnect with like a lot of people who come in AEW, like, or, even especially some of the ex-WWE guys that come in, it's just like, you could tell they don't care. And that's why the fans turn on them and stuff like that. But this is great stuff that we're seeing. And if he stays on this path, he's sweeping year-end awards. Now, I'm interested to see what they do with him when he has the title off of him. Like, like when the title's off of him. And because I think that, like, okay, Mox has had that problem too, of just struggling to find his importance on screen without a title. And some people have that issue in AEW, especially once you start getting into multiple reigns and things like that. So that's going to be interesting to monitor.
Not my clients, but y'all be easy.
Well, I mean, my goat don't have these type of problems, but I understand that my goat not like the rest of y'all. I do understand, but I think you got to give Max his props, especially right now. Look at what the other company is doing. He is the leader of a youth movement of when everybody else. Think about what's the world title matches for WrestleMania? I have no
idea, and I really don't care.
They told me on the stream yesterday. Who is it? It's Cody versus Randy, and Roman versus Punk. All these people.
I thought you said Cody versus Brandy. No. I was like,
but it wouldn't shock you.
What the hell?
It wouldn't shock you, wouldn't it?
Honestly, no.
That's on brand for them.
Honestly, no.
But I said all the same.
You a black belt?
Well, I'm a black bitch. Let's go. But that's what's happening elsewhere, right? And like MJF is 30, and this is his second world title reign. And he's headlined Wembley. Shut up. I'm only defending him there because I'm 28. Like, chill. Think about what he's accomplished, and he's leading this youth movement. Even like a few weeks ago, MJF versus Kevin Knight. I think Kevin Knight's 29, 28, something like that. MJF hadn't even turned 30 yet at that point. A world title match with 2 people under 30, that's not happening nowhere else. There's we just have to acknowledge, like, from a youth perspective, of especially when John Cena retired, AJ Styles has retired, Hiroshi Tanahashi has retired. We're going to be dealing with a lot of more of these. Of just, people always be like, oh yeah, the future, the generations are changing. No, like, we're in it now. Like, we are living. Like, it's not the future, it's not coming up. The generations are changing. And so yeah, I think that it's been really interesting, like to watch like this reign unfold. It does still have to end. I do want to be very clear of just like of I just because I'm one of those people, if you've ever seen a show, I typically play good cop while Dani plays bad cop. Like, if I've ever said anything bad about you, I do have to be just as loud by being acknowledged, what you do right. However, when it comes to Kenny Omega,
none of that applies.
All of you can go.
Every single one, twice over.
Every last one of you, and especially I get so unethical about Kenny to the point to where even when he wasn't, fully at full health yet, as long as he wants to get in that ring, sure, I will prop it up. I'll pretend something is great. So, but he's actually great right now. Like he's actually at full health.
Guys, it's not optional. And I don't know what to tell you, right? Like I represent a lot of clients. I do. I also have favorites. I do. And Kenny Omega is just, if he wants it, everybody got to get out the way.
Everything the light touches is his.
That's your kingdom. And I don't know what to tell you guys. So yes, Scarf, he's doing some great work right now. There is nobody on that roster that feels bigger than him. Except but God.
But I had a praying grandmother. Whoa. Yeah.
Wipe that nigga title off before
Here's the thing though. Being number 2 to Kenny Omega is still that's
like losing to Simone Biles.
That's the dream. Like, it's the dream. It's an honor. It should be an honor to lay on your back. Should be an honor to lay on your back. Do what you will with that statement.
I think that's a great place to end it.
I think that's a great place to end it, actually. Dani, you had something come up on your channel earlier. You released something.
Yeah, guys. So first off, can I just say, I want to apologize for any harm I may have caused to the community by subjecting people to Justin Timberlake. Timberlake. I thought that was so funny. Other people didn't think that was funny, but I thought it was so funny. But no, if you haven't seen it, the brand new episode of Black Girl Wrestling that went up today featuring the guest of all time, Willow Nightingale. Everybody clap. It's super fun and she's super slay, and you should go watch it. Thank you.
Yes. I have not finished it yet, but I wouldn't hate me. No, actually, I was just about to like go on a rant and give you praise. I think obviously I support everything that you do, but I've kind of like taken a step back from wrestling, not permanently. I still do stuff, but like I've had a lot going on. But like my coolest thing, when I'm rarely on Twitter these days, but I literally come on to like repost your stuff almost like you'll think like I work PR or something, like I'm on the team. Yeah. I'll be like, yes, exactly.
You are on the team. It's the first 3 seconds of the video. I'm like, I don't know. Lyric usually do
it made me giggle so much. I said, now how do I get in it? You see, but it made me feel really included. But
sorry, go ahead.
But yeah, obviously Women's History Month ended yesterday, but we didn't get to talk about it. So I just want to talk. Black girl wrestling is really important. Like, and I think like it's gotten to a point to where, you have reached containment. But it's gotten so important, and like seeing like you built a platform where now like other Black women who have podcasts and things, they get shouted out for like, and they get noticed, and shout out to T and Tussle. But we've just reached a point to where it's just like, no, like this is so important. Like Black voices are really important. Black women voices are really important. And the fact that you've just stayed so true to yourself, like to a fault, like, bro, I think about people who actually like care so much. They would never have like possibly put a Justin Timberlake link up there. Like they'll be like, what if this ruins my clicks and stuff like that? You don't care about any of that. You're gonna get the joke off by any means necessary. You don't care. You're gonna cause chaos until your dying breath. You don't care if it costs you 30 to 300 clicks or anything like that. Don't matter. And it's just refreshing to see people do the shit for the love of the game. I think that's honestly what I've been struggling with. Of just like, I think for when I first started doing this wrestling stuff, I was doing things because I wanted to. And then eventually you get to a point where you feel like, oh yeah, no, I have to do this. I have to do this. I have to do this. And then something you love turns into like an obligation and a job. And it's nice to see that you're still having fun and you still like, you it's some weird convoluted way you love this shit. I don't think it's the wrestling portion. I think it's the genuine causing chaos and like terrorizing human beings. I think that really makes you happy, but you're good at it, so I can see that. I can see that makes sense. But no, I just wanted to give you your flowers and say like, this is big. Like, you know, there's been some really big heavy name guests on there. We interviewed MJF, you know, All In Weekend. Who else has been on the show? RJ City's been on the show. Kevin Knight's been on the show. Now Willow Nightingale has been on the show. Like, who's next?
I don't know. I feel like I need to like zero in on a target. Because this typically, because guys, here's a fun fact. Right? Like, I don't usually follow many like protocols in regards to this. So it's just usually
I don't think that's a shocker to anyone.
I figured, but you know, so I feel like we just need to like zero in on a couple people. Here's my thing. I want to interview Kyle Fletcher. I want Kyle Fletcher next. I do think I scare Kyle Fletcher.
Correct.
So I don't know. Oh, Speedball would be great too. I do think that I scare Kyle Fletcher, so I think that will be a tough one. I don't mean to scare him, but I just like, yeah.
You did tell everybody he had a BBL.
Well, that was before even Black Girl Wrestling was popular. That was just like, not to say that we're popular now, but that was like, I had like 10 followers and I was telling niggas he had a BBL.
No, you've made it because now people aggregate your interviews without giving you credit. What? It's true. That's how you know you've made it when they start aggregating. So,
and you know what's funny to me? It's funny to me is that like I don't care. Like I'm not one of those people who's like, oh, you didn't credit. Well, it doesn't make any difference because I like, who cares? But I just think it's funny because they'll be like, oh yeah, source Black Girl Wrestling. I'm like, maybe I'm not a source.
at ease. But you know, I think also too, you were able to just, you have a name that just comes off as so, it seems official. It's Black Girl Wrestling. Like, this is an authority. You know, it's not like Ringside Graps or, you know, with the like no, this is the Black Girl Wrestling. Like, this is the authority of anything of black related to Black girls in wrestling. This is
staff, my word is final.
Staff only. But yes.
Well, Lyric, you have anything coming up?
No.
Real?
Not right now. No, I'm actually I've been really grateful and really happy this past week, last few weeks. I've just been kind of been a spectator. I just want to be a cheerleader right now. I'm going to hop back in the game, you know, soon, by the way. I'm not talking about like, I'm not taking like a real break. I still do stuff.
She's going to be on Black Girl Wrestling next week.
Yeah. Like I still like do stuff and I'll probably, there's some things that I want to write, you know, over the next month or so. So like, but I kind of just want to get back to like doing things because I love it, you know, just not feeling like, oh my God, like I have a deadline or job and stuff. Like, you know, it's just like,
I'll find something fun for us to do.
And honestly, for me personally, the thing that I really need to get back to is actually, I need to get back in front of live wrestling. This is the longest I've gone in years without being at a show. My last show that I went to, wrestling show that I've been to, was November when I went to Blood and Guts. My last wrestling overnight trip was Texas. That is a super duper long time for me. If anybody remembers, there was a time I was literally at every other pay-per-view. Like I was flying out every other month. I miss it. I miss being with the adrenaline of wrestling. I love the crowd. Like I love like the feeling. Like I need that. And I know once I get back around that, I'm just gonna feel like a Energizer bunny. But until then, it's gonna be rough. We'll see. But it'll happen. I know I want to go to G1 Chicago. You should go. Come to G1 Chicago. Yeah. Yeah. Everybody should come to G1 Chicago. I think it's gonna be great. Yeah, it's like but yeah.
Okay. Well, love you guys. Bye.
Bye.